Now, let us contemplate the following scenario. What would happen if the Bell of Ruin were sounded during the fire festival? Oh. Everyone who heard it would fall unconscious. As it was an annual festival, all the townspeople were assembled in the town square. Oh dear! Therefore, on the night of the fire festival over 10 years ago, all the residents instantly lost consciousness when the bell was struck. Oh no! Had it been even just slightly windy that day, the fires lit for the Great Witch Espella would have gone out of control, and they would spread throughout the town with no one left to stop them. Because everyone was unconscious. Exactly. That also includes the two girls who were in the belfry. Espella and I. You were the closest to the source of the sound, so it was inevitable. When you recover on consciousness, it was already too late. The town had been swallowed by flames, as if a fire dragon had come to burn it. That was a calamity caused by the bell. Calamity? You say here that the cause of the calamity is the Great Witch Espella. That night, in this very town, Espella was more than a mythical persona.
Espella. She's losing it again! The Bell of Ruin. Espella!
Oh, okay, can we continue? Alright, cool beans. Darn. I think Espella is not gonna be okay, is she? Do you want to say no? But now we confirmed who was up in the tower, and one of those two was responsible for the bell of being rung, obviously. Unless there was a third person. Maybe it was the cat's fault. Mr. Cantabella, I would like to apologize for putting too much pressure on your daughter. Only your words can bring her back from the brink of madness. Let her hear the truth from her own father. All according to your plan, Layton. You've driven Espella into a corner in order to push me to the wall. Hey, you're supposed to be a father, now be a father! I had no other choice. Espella, please, listen to me. You haven't done anything wrong. You didn't cause that accident. You have suffered so much thinking that you were Espella. I must take the blame for that. You, Mr. Cantabella? I sacrificed everything to make up for what I've done. But all I managed to do was inflict more pain upon others. Is that not so, Darklaw? Now that you are willing to talk, Mr. Cantabella, would you mind telling us your story? Yours as well as Espella's and Miss Darklaw's. Very well. This story, too, began when I was a young lad. When Newton and I were still youths, full of dreams and hope. As you already know, we discovered the underground ruins, and deep within them lay that accursed bell. The Bell of Ruin. At the time, we still lacked the knowledge to decipher any of the writings we found there. Of course. This bell is magnificent. It's bound to make the most beautiful sound. I have an idea. Why don't we make this bell the symbol of our town? How do you propose to do that? Let's build a bell tower for it. Then we can ring it on special occasions. That's not a bad idea. Then it's settled. When we grow up, let's do it. Okay, just don't forget about it. The two of us chose different paths in life. I studied management in London, while Newton devoted himself to study of the natural sciences. And then you made a fortune following the invention of a new anesthetic. We both got married around that time, and each of us had a daughter. You mean Espella was born shortly after your company gained funding? That's right. We eventually returned to our hometown and set about realizing our childhood dream. Having built a bell tower in the middle of the town square, we retrieved the bell itself from the underground ruins. We aspire to make it a symbol of prosperity for this unindustrialized town. The bell was to be officially displayed during the annual fire festival. It would be rung in the morning following the night of celebration. Pardon the interruption, but at the time, were you aware of the meaning behind the bell's name? Obviously, we were not. Thinking back to my ignorance at that time, a chill now runs down my spine. Newton and I went to the bell tower the day before the festival. Only one more day to go. We've waited a long time for this. That we have. This town will no longer be the same after tomorrow. The bell weighed so much that ringing it was not easy. We tackled that problem by constructing a special mechanism, which we installed in the belfry.
Daddy, I want to hear the bell. Can I make it ring? Daddy, please, let me ring it.
Espella, who was there with us, was utterly enchanted by the bell. She wasn't a bad child, but she was very stubborn and would rarely listen to me when she wanted something. I told her a story to try and convince her to leave the bell alone.
Espella, listen carefully. You mustn't ring this bell.
But why? Why can't I, Daddy?
You know about Espella the witch?
Uh-huh. She's an evil fire witch who uses magic to hurt people.
If you ring this bell, Espella will come out and possess you.
Possess me? You mean I'll turn into Espella?
That's right, Espella. When Espella possesses someone, she uses them to do terrible things. That's why you must never ring this bell, sweetheart.
I understand, Daddy.
There's a good girl.
The legend of Espella has been passed around these parts for centuries. It probably originated from beliefs of the tribes that populated this area in the past. What I told Espella was just a silly story that I invented for the occasion. It was only meant to stop her from ringing the bell. It makes me think of those, like, little kids sing-along songs like Ring Around the Posies, and how, you know, a lot of, like, you know, children rhymes are kind of ominous with their past. Something like that, you know, and this is taken to the extreme. I could not have imagined that it would have such far-reaching consequences. It's all coming back to me now. I remember that day. On the day of the fire festival, just around the time when the preparations ended and everything was about to begin, I sneaked out of our house. I took Mom's pendant with me. Your mother's pendant? Do you mean this one? Yes, it belonged to my mom. We needed to limited access to the bell, so we made the 2 keys. We decided to make them into pendants and each gave one to our respective wives. Both are needed in order to access the belfry. Oh, something would... I think you guys are getting about who Darklaw really is. I saw you and Mr. Belduke use them, so I told Eve to meet me at the bell tower.
Daddy says Espella will come out if I ring the bell, but if I do it just a little...
Oh my god, Espella, please.
I want to try it while the festival is going on. I hope Eve doesn't forget her mum's pendant.
So it is just as I thought. Miss Darklaw. Ah, my screen just went off. You are Mr. Belduke's daughter. Heh. Well done, Inquisitor. I was almost afraid you would fail to make that connection. What in the... This is too much for one day! Order! Order in the court! Lady Darklaw, you mean to say that you're Sir Belduke's daughter? Yes. My real name is Eve Belduke. I'm the alchemist's daughter. This is unbelievable. I also sneaked out of my house that evening, clutching my mother's pendant in my hand. I did just as you asked me to, did I not, Espella?
Espella, my mum's going to be so angry if she notices I took the pendant. Don't worry so much. I just really want to ring that bell. I want to hear it.
Jeez, no wonder Darklaw's so pissed right now. I rang the bell against my father's warning, and so Bezella possessed me. Because of me, the town, and everyone in it. No, Espella! They're all gone. No, it's not your fault. Stop blaming yourself. Supposedly, the former inhabitants of this area also used to fall unconscious upon the sound of that bell. Perhaps they experienced a similar nightmare. It was I who brought the Bell of Ruin into this town. The one to blame for this calamity is not some witch, it's me. I brought the destruction upon this town. I am Bezella. Espella, you're going to drive your dad crazy if you keep repeating that. I don't know who's laughing. I'm gonna assume Darklaw. Seeing you like this is giving me a strong feeling of deja vu. Eve, how can you be so evil? Are you happy now? I'm afraid we're in the dark as regards Miss Darklaw's sense of deja vu. Only 4 people survived the fire. Only 4? Espella and Eve, who were in the belfry, and the only 2 residents who did not participate in the festival, Newton and I. And where were you at the time, if you'll permit me my asking? We were investigating those faithful ruins. That's why we didn't notice anything until it was too late. It was getting near the time at which we planned to ring the bell, so we headed towards the town. Then we saw it. The town had been burned to ashes, the air shimmering from the heat. That's too awful for words. We searched for survivors, sick with anxiety. Eventually we found our daughters in the bell tower. Espella was unresponsive, like a doll. Eve was crying at her side. Our relief at having found them with terror caused by the disaster. Ooh. Sentences. I don't know what's wrong with me today. The worst night of my life ended, pierced with the first rays of sunshine. But then, it seemed Espella was already lost to us. We had lost her to Bezella. She wouldn't speak, eat, or even leave her room. She thought she was Bezella, and that she had destroyed the town. I couldn't get that out of her head. What she saw from the bell tower must have been so terrifying. But it wasn't shock from what she had seen. My own words had put her in that state. Had I only not told her that stupid story. We had been grasping at straws, trying to find a way to save Espella's mind. But whatever we did, her eyes would remain impassive and empty. In the end, I came upon a certain idea that offered us a glimpse of hope. And And we're gonna have to find out that idea in the next video because I believe we are now out of time. Or getting close to it. I don't want to go over and have to, like, fix this later. So, we will find out in the next video.